Today, we're diving deep into the heart of your garden shed. That's right, we're talking about decluttering those gardening supplies. If you're new here, we're all about delivering simple, straightforward guides on how not to do things the wrong way, so you can do them right instead. Because let's face it, a well-organized garden starts with well-organized tools and supplies, doesn't it? So, if you're tired of tripping over tangled hoses, misplacing your favorite trowel, or feeling overwhelmed by a jumble of pots and planters, you're in the right place. Let's tidy up. Now you might be thinking, it's just my garden shed, a little clutter never hurt anyone. But let me tell you, dear friends, clutter has a way of quietly creeping into our lives and stealing something very precious. Our time, our energy, and even our joy. Imagine this, you're excited to start planting your spring bulbs. The sun is shining, the birds are singing, and you can almost smell the hyacinths blooming. But first, you need to find your gardening gloves. You open your shed door, and chaos. Suddenly, that feeling of excitement is replaced with a wave of overwhelm. Sound familiar? This, my friends, is the hidden problem of clutter. It robs us of those precious moments of joy and connection with our gardens. It turns a simple task into a frustrating scavenger hunt. And it can even make us less likely to garden altogether. Think about those times you've struggled to find a specific tool, or when you've bought duplicates of things you know you already own, but can't seem to find. Clutter creates unnecessary stress, wastes our time, and even costs us money. But it doesn't have to be this way. Now let's roll up our sleeves and get down to the business of decluttering. Remember, tidying up is not about creating a perfectly Instagrammable space. It's about creating a space that works for you, that sparks joy in your heart, and that makes gardening a more enjoyable experience. The first step is to gather all, and I mean all, of your gardening supplies in one place. Yes, everything. Bring out those dusty pots from the back corner, those forgotten bags of fertilizer, and those tools hiding under the workbench. Now spread everything out and take a moment to simply observe. How does this space make you feel? Overwhelmed? A little bit embarrassed? That's perfectly okay, we've all been there. The important thing is that you're taking the first step towards creating a more joyful and functional space. Next, we're going to use the KonMari method trademark to decide what to keep and what to let go of. Hold each item in your hands and ask yourself, does this spark joy? Do I really use this? Or am I just holding on to it out of guilt or just in case? Be honest with yourself. If it doesn't spark joy, if you haven't used it in the past year, and if you can't think of a specific reason why you need to keep it, it's time to let it go with gratitude. Thank the item for its service, and then say goodbye. You might be surprised by how liberating it feels to let go of things you no longer need. Now that you've decluttered and are left with only the items that spark joy, it's time to organize. Remember, the goal here is to create a space where everything has its place, a space that is both functional and aesthetically pleasing. Let's start with those tools. Instead of letting them pile up in a corner, give them a dedicated home. A pegboard on the wall is a fantastic way to keep tools visible and easily accessible. You can even outline each tool with a marker so you know exactly where it belongs. Next, let's tackle those gardening supplies. Clear storage bins are your best friend here. They allow you to see exactly what you have, and they're stackable, which is a huge space saver. Label each bin clearly: seeds, fertilizers, gardening gloves, so you can find what you need at a glance. For smaller items like seed packets, twist ties, and plant markers, consider using drawer organizers or small containers within your bins to keep everything neat and tidy. Don't forget about vertical space. Shelving units are a great way to maximize storage in your shed. You can use them to store bulky items like bags of soil, pots, and watering cans. Remember, the key to a well-organized space is to make it easy to put things away. When everything has a designated spot, you're less likely to let clutter build up again. Now let's talk about those essential but potentially hazardous materials: garden chemicals and fertilizers. It's crucial to store these items responsibly, both for your safety and the well-being of your garden and family. First and foremost, always store chemicals and fertilizers in their original containers. Never transfer them to unmarked containers, as this could lead to accidental ingestion or misuse. Make sure the labels are clear and legible, and if they're not, create new labels with the product name, date of purchase, and any necessary safety precautions. Next, choose a dedicated storage area for these materials, away from direct sunlight, heat sources, and moisture. A cool, dry, and well-ventilated area is ideal. A sturdy shelf or cabinet, preferably with a lock, is a good option. Keep these materials out of reach of children and pets at all times. It's also a good idea to keep a separate container for empty chemical containers. Rinse them out thoroughly before discarding them, and follow local regulations for disposal. Remember, safety should always be your top priority when handling garden chemicals and fertilizers. Congratulations! You've decluttered, organized, and created a garden shed that sparks joy. Now the key is to maintain this newfound sense of order and prevent clutter from creeping back in. But don't worry, maintaining a tidy space doesn't have to be a chore. It's all about making small, mindful changes to your routine. First, make it a habit to put things away immediately after use. Finished with your pruning shears? Hang them back on their designated hook on the pegboard. Done with a bag of potting soil? Seal it tightly and return it to its shelf. Second, incorporate a quick tidy-up session into your gardening routine. At the end of each gardening session, take a few minutes to put tools back in their place, discard any plant debris, and give your workspace a quick sweep. Third, schedule a more thorough decluttering session at the end of each gardening season. This is a great time to take inventory of your supplies, discard anything that's expired or damaged, and give your shed a good cleaning. Remember, maintaining a tidy space is an ongoing process, not a one-time event. Now let's talk about the emotional side of decluttering, because it's just as important as the physical act of tidying up. When we declutter our physical spaces, we often find that it has a profound impact on our mental and emotional well-being as well. Think about how you feel when you walk into a cluttered room. Does it make you feel stressed, anxious, or overwhelmed? Now imagine walking into a clean, organized, and clutter-free space. Do you feel a sense of calm, peace, and clarity wash over you? Decluttering allows us to let go of not just physical possessions, but also emotional baggage. It's a way of creating space in our lives for the things that truly matter: our passions, our relationships, and our well-being. As we approach the end of our decluttering journey, let's shift our focus to the future. Now that you've created a space that sparks joy, how can you maintain this sense of order and intentionality in the seasons to come? It starts with planning. As you put away your gardening tools and supplies, take some time to reflect on the past season. What worked well? What could be improved? Are there any new tools or supplies you need to add to your collection? Make a list of your gardening goals for the next year. Do you want to try growing a new type of vegetable? Do you want to create a pollinator garden to attract bees and butterflies? Having a plan in place will help you stay organized and focused when the gardening season rolls around again. Consider creating a gardening journal or using a digital app to track your progress, jot down ideas, and create a visual reminder of your goals. This will not only help you stay organized, but it will also serve as a beautiful record of your gardening journey. Remember, decluttering is not a one-time event, it's a lifestyle. If you found any value in this video, please smash that like button and subscribe to our channel, Don't Do This Guide, for more tips on what not to do and how to do it right instead. We post new, easy-to-follow guides every week, so you'll never run out of ways to make your life simpler and more organized. And hey, if you've got your own decluttering tips or funny gardening mishaps, drop them in the comments below. We'd love to hear your stories and keep the conversation growing.